Welcome back to my journey to trading to a million. Yes, we are starting the simulator, but what we are doing is doing something that is profitable in what we're making. And so I am showing you guys everything I'm doing, and this is our daily recap, talking about our trades and what we did throughout the day. So today we are up 20,000. Yes, it says 260,000, but we actually made one trade yesterday. So check out my video that I posted earlier today about our swing trade last night. This was absolutely nuts, but today was a great day on the market as well. I was trading a few things. The last second, I was trading, I was back to CXAI and then PTPI. I was trading majority of the day SAI, and I was going crazy on this type of stuff, but this market was moving great for me, and I also had a few dips. So I was trading through here. But my strategy, guys, has seemed to be playing out. I've been trying to test other stuff, but it comes down to my momentum strategy has been very, very, very solid. And I'm going to explain it to you guys here. It's really simple, but we use the 1 minute chart in the 5 minute, and then sometimes I actually pull out and I go to 15 minutes, but past week, I just want to see the peaks. So we use basic understanding of the half dollars, quarter dollars, and whole dollars, while trading with support and base resistance when we're actually trying to time our sells through momentum. But the two major things that I'm using is the MACD and the Awesome Oscillator. Everything else to me is just a confidence position. It's a psychological position. The VMA or the VMA is a psychological position, in my opinion. The EMA is a psychological. They are points that we could potentially go in on where breaks do occur. Now, what we need is the right setup, and I'm going to show you guys what I'm looking for in a setup. And so if you can see, when we go green, we are going from red to green, and then we go way up, and then it switches over and down. But how can we predict if these things are starting to pull over? And a couple things that I've been recognizing is as these start to turn over, you see these Awesome Oscillator comes in just a little bit earlier. You see that red indicator shows that it's right before that goes in. This is when you want to start thinking about selling. Sometimes they fake and they go one red. They'll go like, yeah, this here's a fake down, but it'll be like two green and then it'll flip, right? Trying to get some people in, try to get some of that liquidity, and then they flip it on you. Kind of like right here, where it looks like we're green, 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 one red. So I like to look for two on the 1 minute chart. I like to look for at least two on the 1 minute chart before I take a position or reverse my position. And I also like to incorporate volume. Now, volume's kind of that psychological effect to it because at any point, somebody could come in and just totally flip it on us at any point. So what I'm looking for are these rotations over before we see green. So once we see green here, we see green here, and we see volume coming in. Wow, I love it. But that's not telling me everything. Now, volume usually comes in, what I've seen, on the 5 minute chart. So when the volume comes in, we actually are starting to see that the 5 minute chart starts to pull up. So what I'm looking at is right here. We're looking at, here's an example right here. So we're seeing green on the Awesome Oscillator like 2 or 3 times, but then we see volume. Once we get about 10 minutes of proper trading, once we get to about 10 minutes of seeing green, then people are saying, okay, let's take a chance, and that's where that 5 minute takes off. Look at that. Right where the cross is at the 5 minute, then it shoots. If we go to the 1 minute chart and look at that exact time, it was right around 10 a.m., we go and look at this time chart, it was green for a long time, but the Awesome Oscillator changed right around that same time period. So they were both concurrent with how they moved. But if you were watching the Awesome Oscillator, if you were watching the MACD, we started seeing green way back at 9:50. So we had almost 10 to 15 minutes to really think about this trade before we went in. And if we go and actually look at my positions, that is my strategy, and that's how I'm taking my trades and going forward. Now, the hard part about this is looking for these breakouts that really flip really quick, right? Boom, and they flip. But if you follow this trend, we would be out. This is a 1 minute chart. 2, 3, we're out. I'd be out about here. Would I take a loss coming from, 447 to maybe, a 15-cent loss here if we were trying to get in and stay in? I probably wouldn't have held off. I probably would not have been necessarily in on this market. I would have been trying to get over here, and then I would see it out. I'd be out, and so I probably wouldn't try to get back in on any of this. This is too choppy for me. What I'm starting to find and recognize, if you've been following our channel, is I'm trying to get a little bit more precise and precision on this because I'd like to see the 5-minute chart line up. And so if we don't see the 5-minute chart line up with it, then I'm not going to go in on it. And what I've realized is, they say, the less trades you do, the more profitable, the more precise you are, the more accurate you can be. And that's kind of the move. And so the second you see this kind of pull up to about $0.50, you see that right about $0.50, this is right around 450 is where it starts to pull back. And so I'd be out around the 450, right? However, I'm probably going to be out around 447 just to make sure I get filled. But when it comes to that reversal type of stuff, guys, all we're looking for is getting out and maintaining that, because the last thing we want to do is hit a false breakout, or we want to be up buying, at 480 and then it just flips on us and we're dropped 50 cents. That's huge. There was a lot of momentum on this. This is a 200% trade on the day. But the thing about it is what we're looking for, I'm looking for about 15 cents, 10, 15 cents a trade. And so if I'm at 424, I've been stop loss. So if I go in, if we try to anticipate this trade right here, if we break this down, this trade right around 11 a.m., if we try to analyze this, what I would be looking at right at 11 is I'd come in, I would look at 11 a.m., and I would see it would see right around here, and I would say, okay, we're green on the awesome, 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 awesome. I'm seeing green. I'm not in yet. I don't like it just yet. And then I would go through a red, and that would really scare me, but I'd see green again. I'd see green again. And then this is where I'm starting to think about is right around 1052. I would start to see this nearing. You see how this is starting to near that line? To try to anticipate a trade to break out like this, we try to anticipate some of those. That's where that's actually where the psychological part is, and that's where I either gain confidence or I'm not confident just yet going in. But this is where if I'm trying to take some risk, I'm going to go in right around this area. And then we see it break. We see the crossover right here. We see it starting to cross over right around 1055. So if we come back to the 5-minute chart, that would give me the confidence going on my trade, 1055. And so if we go to the chart right at 1055 here, where is it? There it is. 1050, and we're seeing, actually the Awesome Oscillator showed us green all the way from 10 a.m. So it stayed green on the 5-minute chart all through this. So that would give me a strong confidence that we could still push. So that to me is showing a green light at around 1050, 1055. Now you probably could have just held this and just stayed on the 5-minute chart and waited for it and gone through the red here. But you would go in around here, which is like 424. Then you would have held through 450 and dropped all the way down back to where you were at, which would be brutal. But that's the movement. That's the type of strategy that I'm using on my positions. And so when we kind of go through here, if we went in, I was moving some big share sizes too. And I wasn't doing so many limits. I was doing more of market. I was doing more of market positions and stop losses. So what I've come to realize is if my trade isn't green right away, I need to get out. More likely than not. Majority of my trades I noticed is I would go in on a trade and it's starting to come up, and then next thing you know, it just pulls down. Like I would go in at like, let's say 460, and then right away, and it looks like it's going to break, and it showed 460, and then it puts me in at 463, and then there's a sell, and boom, it goes right away back down to 455. That's like an early indicator that my trade was wrong. And so if I start red and I have to wait for it to be green, I almost want to just sell through that and get into a better position, a little bit something safer, something easier. Because the last thing I wanted to be is caught up in a position where I'm too high and just holding on for dear life. And if it doesn't move right away, I'm expecting momentum to take me forward. If I don't see that momentum, I want to be out. That's kind of what I'm looking for in this type of stuff. And so I set stop losses. I set profitable stop losses where if I take a trade and it goes directly up, so if I buy in at 460 and it goes to 470, and then it kind of fluctuates 463, 475, I might just stop loss right at my margin, maybe even a couple cents higher just to make sure I get liquid. If I'm trading with this type of share size, I want to be 2 or 3 cents higher because the way some of these stop losses have been hitting is I might hit it right at $5 and then it drops like 15 cents because it just doesn't get filled because I'm trading with too many share sizes. Now, and what's also not happening with the simulation is I'm not affecting the market. 80,000 shares would affect the market. In my opinion, it would affect, and it'd be harder to get that liquid, and it wouldn't necessarily manipulate the market, but it would definitely have a huge impact on the validity of these things pulling in and out. And so those are a couple things that, you know, I'll be starting with a $500 account, so it's nothing going to be crazy. But today, guys, was another day of actual wildness. I tried to get in late on some stuff, and it flipped and reversed, and I went negative on several trades. But then I found something moving at the end of the day, and it was, I believe, PTPI. I tried to get on CX, and it wasn't doing great. So if we're right here, I ended up getting in right through here at 12, right here, 430, and I rode that to about almost, I got out at 480 or so. So I was in, I dropped another, I pulled in at like 4, let me see exactly what I'm doing. That way you guys can actually confirm whatever I did. But view transaction history, here we go. So if I go all the way down to today, and so I was in and out on some of these trades, but ended up I was negative with CXAI. So I was negative here, and then I flipped in 645, quick 18-cent trade, really quick, and then I bought in again and sold at 694, and then what did I do? It looks like that doesn't make sense. Or here we are. Oh, those are miscellaneous fees. Excuse me. Sorry, guys. I bought in at 486 and sold at 490. So it's just a 4-cent trade. It looked a little bit dangerous, and it looked like I read that really well because it ended up dropping 15 cents. So I got in right off of like a flip back. And so then I sold again. I gained another 40 cents on a trade, finding that momentum back up. And then I ended up buying right back again, seeing momentum pull in, and went up to like 5.2, I believe, or 5.18. And that's where I lost some. I did take a huge pullback here, and then I sold. I think I ended up selling 40,000. It went back down to like 570, and I held on to it to about 5. I held all the way through up to 90, and I tried to see if it would sell, if it would break, and so I sold half the lot. Then I sold half the lot right at that same margin as it came down, and it didn't want to hold. This was about 30 seconds later. Just didn't want to hold, and this market was crazy volatile. And I'm good. It was a good move because about a minute later, it dropped 30 cents. The volume was just insane. And then I ended up buying again at 645 and gained back another 12 cents to really push those last few moments, and I went in on half of the share size that I was using, just to try to be a little bit so I didn't go negative on the day. But that was my trade strategy on the day. The last like 5 minutes, or like the last hour, I was trying to trade CXAI. I was trying to break my strategy and it wasn't working. And so I wanted to find something that had volume, movement, and was concurrent with my strategy. And that's what PTPI was. And then it was a little emotional at the end. But that's my strategy for today. I hope this helps you guys. If it does, drop a like. And remember, guys, you don't have to do this alone. Comment, ask me questions, and you know, I'm getting better. I study this constantly. I am studying almost more than I am actually trading right now, and so I am trying to be as knowledgeable as I possibly can. And these are my daily recaps, just to explain to you guys what I'm thinking about and what I'm doing, because the best way to improve is the best way to get better at something is just trying to teach it, explain it. Because if you can explain it, I think you can get better at it. So we'll see you guys tomorrow or Monday.